So good afternoon, and this is such a pleasure to be back. We missed a week, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We
We're both en route.
were caught in different places, different parts of the country or North America, and we are back. And we're back about the power of the mastermind, the power of masterminding your way up the ladder of your desired dream. Man, it is so powerful, so amazing. And all of the principles that we've been discussing for the last few months are coming into play in a real way within our mastermind group, Renee. And I've got to tell you, it wasn't just till this past Sunday that I realized the power of the mastermind group. Every single thing from publishing my book, from writing the course with the Smarter Vision, everything that you've done with rapid skills transfer protocols and the itty bitty baby step messaging that you've developed, everything you've done with Smarter, Not Harder You is coming out of the framework that we've designed. And today we want to help our audience identify, what is a mastermind group do? What is it? And we've crafted, how many pages do we have? Is it 10 or 11 pages?
Oh, I don't know. It's about 20 pages long.
Yeah, we've developed a framework. Now, we're not going to try to go through all 20 pages, really, you're here, right? But we picked a few items that have touched our lives very deeply, things that have impacted us. And when we reflect, and if we don't pause to reflect, folks, if you don't pause to reflect, you miss a lot. All right. So pausing to reflect, pausing to celebrate, pausing to examine what happened, even to ask the question. So what got me here? Even if it's a good here. Because sometimes we ask that because we're in a place we don't want to be. But when you're in a place you want to be and you're enjoying yourself, it's a good question to ask, because that path that you went on to get to that point, it is so amazing that we can reflect and enjoy it and identify that there are things that happen along the way, the people that we communicated with, the conversations that we had, the tough decisions that we helped each other make along the way.
Right. The accountability.
The accountability, the things that we were able to uncover and bring out into the open, where we felt challenged within ourselves and perhaps didn't even recognize that we were hiding ourselves behind a facade. All of those things are part of our experience.
Right?
Yeah.
Very much so.
I'm so excited that we've chosen to share with our audience today, people living by purpose instead.
It
is so unusual that I was working with a couple today. I chosen to mentor this couple and just collaborate with them and learn from them as well. And when we talked about purpose and mission and vision and how the conversation was going, they were a little bit frustrated because some things were getting in the way. Something that they had chosen to do was now taking away their time, away from the thing that they really wanted to do. And there was a bit of frustration in there. And I said, you know what? Don't worry about that. In fact, one of the comments was, I feel like I'm waffling between two different ideas. And we've been through that, right? We've been through that. And, I was able to tell them, it's okay. It's okay to go through those paces, those moments of uncertainty when you can't really figure out exactly which way you want to go. It's part of the process.
Absolutely.
Process. And to have support, to have a way that we can support each other. So I remember when Renee, you said it a number of times, but I've got to confess now, this is coming, after some deep reflection. I was scared to do this stuff that we're doing right now.
You and me both.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, it's scary in the sense that you don't realize that you have something to offer, something to say, something that will help other people. And if we keep focusing on ourselves, we continue with the fear. But if we can focus on the mission, the bigger picture, the one person that may be listening that could catch one little nugget that can somehow change their life. That's why we're here. That's
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And the whole conversation is about, we often go trying to go after our dreams, our big hairy aspirations, and we have no support, right?
That's right.
We're all alone in that. And you and I have both experienced this for, decades before we found each other and found, kind of the mastermind concept and committed to that.
That's
How
correct.
hard it is to keep to the course,
That's
to
right.
keep going on something that is deeply meaningful to you. Without that support, it's hard to keep going. And so, do you want to tell, basically where you came across the concept on masterminds?
Yeah, absolutely.
We came in at two different places, I know.
Yeah, that's right. And masterminding was introduced to me, and it was Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chicken Soup for the
Jack
Soul.
Canfield.
Jack,
Yeah.
that's right, Jack. And just reading through that book, and basically the suggestion was there, just get a group of people that can get together once a week or every other week, and that will support each other. And I think that's why I picked up the term, is like having your personal board of directors separate from a company, but just your personal board of directors, where they want to know what your goals are, what your aspirations are, what you're trying to do, and they can give suggestions, and they can give you support, and they can also help to make you accountable.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
yes. And it's such a foreign concept. I don't think most people even know of it. For me, it was out of how to make friends and how to win friends and influence people. Dale Carnegie. And it's so old. It's one of those classic books that everybody, anybody that is interested in developing their self and their life, the classic seminal, kind of book. But it was just in passing. It was truly in passing that I saw that concept. And just, you know how concepts are. You see it, yeah, it sounds great. And then you go on with your life and you go back to your life trying to gut things out by yourself. And so, do you want to tell the story of how we came to be?
Well, no, I think I haven't heard your version in a while.
Okay. My version of this story. So Michael and I have been doing this for 16 years, every Sunday in, Sunday out. It went from the morning till the afternoon to adjust for a schedule change of mine, but for 16 years. And I laugh because him and I, and I'm going to say the main thing, if you want to have a group, and even if it's a group of two, mostly it's been Michael and I, people have come and gone out of our group, and we have stuck. The main consideration is the commitment to it. If Michael and I were not committed to it, this would still not be here. I've been in mastermind groups that have fallen apart within a week or two or three. And so Michael and I have always been committed. So I laugh because him and I have been, you throw out yours and I'll throw out mine, the places that we've been on this phone call. I know one of my favorite ones is I was going into a Subway in Manhattan and I was on our phone call and trying, hands cupped over my ears, trying to listen to and be there, because it's the commitment that makes the longevity actually work. I've been in Paris, France. I've been in islands. I'm sitting here. If you can't see it, I'm sitting in Mexico right now, in Saltillo, Mexico. The commitment has always been there. I know you've been in where, Michael? When we've had this call?
Just this past Sunday, I spent extra 4 hours in the airport in Denver, just because I knew I didn't want to get on a flight and again get delayed and couldn't do the call, and I didn't want to. So I purposefully scheduled my flight till after the scheduled call that we'd have.
Very inconvenient, right?
I've been in Jamaica. I've been in many different places around the country, sometimes having to fly out early Sunday morning in order to be sure I could be in a place to get to the call on Sunday afternoon. All
I know family has been left sitting out in the living room at different times while you and I are on our call. Every friend, every family member that I travel with knows Sunday it's happening. And so I really want to reinforce that if you're wanting to commit to a big dream, you also have to commit to finding someone else to be there for you and to commit to the process of being there for each other, to support each other through something, through
yes, that
through the changes you'll be making to go after that big, hairy, audacious goal. Because what Michael and I've both also found is the people in our lives, while they know what's going on with us, do not know it at the same level that you and I know what you and I are each going after in our lives. I don't think there's anybody else in my life that is aware of the things that I'm trying to accomplish the way you do.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's obviously there's a synergy, there's an awareness. We've gotten to even develop our own language
Yes, out of this, yes.
out of this, and have our own terms and the definitions and the meaning, and how we can help each other become accountable, and just inspire each other. And this past Sunday was particularly revealing for us, because we realized, and one of the statements that we have in our framework that I want to highlight, because I want to talk a little bit about that, is that this is like a brain trust. This is not just a meeting. This is not just a hi, how are you, and what you doing, what you
catching up.
yeah, it's not a catch up call. This is where you're actually pulling on the other person's skill and interest and motivation to support you in the quest that you have, in the desire, the dream that you have. And so to have a brain trust that's specifically centered around you for those many minutes that it's your turn to share and to express the challenges that are going on in your life, that is an amazing accomplishment for us, Renee, to have done this for this length of time. And we were celebrating. We had practically an hour and a half of celebration this past Sunday. Just going through this reflection of what has happened in these many years to us. What are the changes that we have experienced in our lives? So much so that we couldn't believe the incredible difference that we each now can identify in each other.
Right, absolutely.
Right. And so to think about this friendship or this relationship, this group of people, two or more, that are getting together on a regularly scheduled basis, but you're not getting together to chit chat. It's about what do you want to accomplish and what are the challenges that you're encountering? What's the block that's in your way? What is the obstacle? And then you come together to analyze that. You might need a book. You might need a website. You might need a new word to create a new word so that you can understand each other more easily. But enjoy that struggle to solve the problem with somebody else.
And how many times have you and I recognized themes or patterns or regular hangups in one another that we can point out that we can't see in ourselves? So you have that kind of more somebody who knows you well, knows what you're going after, but also can see the overall themes in the other person's life, which is really extraordinary as well. That then you can point that out, and it's always a productive, we, like Michael said, we have a framework that has even ground rules in it, as to how we interact and with one another to make it be productive and keep it productive all the time. And then it becomes a habit. That's a really neat thing too, Michael, I didn't think about until just now. You and I's way of communicating is habitual. It's always productive. It's always upbeat. It's always looking for the solution for ourselves and taking personal responsibility for our own objectives, but also being there for one another.
That's correct. And that ties in very nicely with the belief number one. Belief number one is that we believe that we are ultimately responsible to create our own beliefs. And that was one of the big things in the early days when we were struggling with, wow, I'm not taking action, therefore something must be wrong with my belief. I need to change my belief in order to be sure that I take action, the appropriate action. Right? And that's the number one belief that we have, that we are ultimately responsible to create our own
personal responsibility.
Yes.
To find the answer, find the solution, ask the question, put out there in front of the other person the embarrassing
Uh-huh.
foibles, I recognize that this is where I chicken out, this is where I don't serve my own interests,
Yes.
this is where I'm falling down. Keep me accountable, hold my feet to the fire, help me to hold my feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's Yeah, it's an extraordinary accountability tool, and yeah,
So
I
yes.
can't say enough about it, because if it wasn't valuable, we wouldn't have stuck with this for this long.
No, I mean, maybe a waste of time. And I mean, I remember when I was struggling with what to do with an organization that I belonged to, and things were just kind of humdrum and not interesting and falling apart. And I decided, okay, I think maybe I should do something about this. And right, and we got a chance to what should I say, to study a book. I think we talked about the book just a couple of weeks ago, the three laws of performance,
Mhm.
and we used the principles in that book, and I got excited because they were talking about so many organizations and the transformation that occurred, that I got a whole group of people, of three other people in that organization, to study the book with me and to understand the principle, because they were tricky. They were, initially the first time you go through,
Yes.
they're a little difficult and challenging to understand and grasp, but we studied it till we understood it, and then we presented it to the larger group in the organization, and that has created a totally different result than we would have had we gone down the path that we were on originally.
Right.
So it takes that kind of responsibility to create our own beliefs. And one of the key beliefs is that I can change, or I will change. And regardless of the conditions that I find, I will find a way.
Yeah.
There is a way that can cause the change that I want. There is
Yes.
a solution to this concern or problem. We
Yes.
believe that.
Absolutely. And out of that came my thing that I say all the time: under, over, parachute, behind. Any kind of problem, there's
Yeah.
always a way to, dig under the wall in front of you, scale the wall, parachute in behind that wall if need be, whatever it takes to find a solution. And it really helps to have a second person who knows you well, knows your objectives, to help you brainstorm that out and take productive action
That's right.
in the direction you're going in.
That is so true. So true. So to take that responsibility, that we even though it's in the position number one, we highlighted that one yellow in our framework.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because if you don't take that, you're dead in the water, right? If you don't take personal responsibility for what you're doing and where you're wanting to go with your vision, you're dead in the water. We all struggle, we all fall down. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But it's still saying, I will get up and I will do the right thing, the better thing, the more improved thing going forward, and I will continue to learn from that.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to highlight another belief. I don't know how many we'll get to today, but is really calling at me here. And it speaks to the masterminding process, because you want to have the right people in your group, right? I mean,
Yes.
people who are there just for themselves don't last long.
No.
People, and some of the people that have been with us, they got to their milestone really quickly, and they
Hmm.
thanked us for that. And I remember the experience we had with Tom. I won't call his last name, and it's just amazing that sometimes it takes a short time, sometimes it takes a longer time, but the people that are in your life, you want them to stick with you. So here's the belief that we have. We believe that the human spirit possesses a genuine interest in the welfare, success, and evolution of others and of themselves.
Yes.
Wow.
I know, right? Can't you feel it?
Yeah. It's kind of like, if you really believe that, then you yourself have to possess that genuine interest in the welfare and success and
Right.
evolution of others. And you
Yes.
also exude that. You carry that aura with you, if you will. And people of like aura are going to be attracted to you and will likely support you as well if there's some additional compatibility sometimes that's needed. But just recognize that everybody has this little thing where they would love to support. And here's some of the evidence, especially in today's world. If you have a nonprofit organization and you talk about helping people to, well, Christmas season is right around the corner right now. We just adopted a family. The kids at our church just adopted a family through the Angel Tree Salvation Army complex. And to realize that one of the parents of these children is currently in jail.
Right.
And we adopted a family for Christmas. We're going to go shopping tonight to be sure that we have the gifts to deliver them this weekend at the Salvation Army. Mm-hmm. And can you imagine how impactful that feels to a large audience, to a group of people, that someone is taking the time to help somebody else who is less fortunate? The same spirit can dwell within a group of people who are supporting each other.
Right. And it grows.
And it grows.
I would say it also grows. I mean, it's become our culture now between you and I and whoever, Serena now, and we've had other people with us at different times. That culture has grown over time. And it becomes more supportive as you go along, because it's now, like I said, it's a habit to talk this way, think this way, feel this way, express this way within this group. And it's extraordinary, because it's a place that you go in your life that is almost sanctuary from the rest of life, that you're safe, supported, and you're moving in a direction that has such deep meaning to you.
Yes, and I want to point out here that we talked a bit about in the last broadcast about descriptive language and future-based language, and descriptive language being, of course, where people dwell on describing the past. And I was working with a couple earlier today, and I gave them two statements, and I said, if you want to get stuck and not experience progress, accelerated progress toward your goal, just start describing what's been happening and continue that.
You will successfully not get anywhere.
Just keep going around in circles talking about what's
going on. Keep doing that.
You won't go anywhere. But here it is that we're saying in this belief that as a group, we support the ongoing development and expression of this human spirit and the human development skills that facilitate development and expression of that spirit. So we're talking about the moment when we are discussing an item and someone is expressing a challenge. We are now saying that we are going to marshal every single iota of energy and skill to support the other person.
Yes.
Struggling through that to make sure that a solution is found and that person is
in progress. Satisfied. Yes, progress continues. I can't tell you how many times I've called and it's a Sunday and I'm going, okay, help, and you just lay out the whole problem, and before you're done, you're walking away after an hour or whatever. And it's always been interesting, towards the end of the call is where the goods always are delivered. I don't know what that is. It's like our call is usually an hour and a half. And it's towards the end when everything marinates and you start getting solutions, you start getting, you touch back into what the heart of that thing is that you're working towards for you. It's a touchstone every week towards that. And it's also the successes that you're having week in and week out that propels you forward. And I can't tell you how many times I show up and I go, help, stuck. And by the end, I hang up that phone. I'm bouncing off walls. that night is generally a night where I get a lot of work done and a lot of progress made towards that, because you're able to use that energy from the group to move forward productively. You get a whole new lease on that goal of yours, that outcome of yours, week in and week out like that. Even when you come into the call with a problem, like really something that feels intractable that you're stuck on, and an hour and a half later, and you're going, I'm ready to tackle the world. Let's go back at it again. And how much you and I have grown as a result of those conversations.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the reason we're doing this call is because we know that many people struggle. They struggle working in a silo by themselves,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. You don't have the resources to draw on. You only have your resources to draw on when you're alone.
That's right. And what I like about, and just being able to bounce ideas off of someone else, is that you're getting somebody who has a totally different background than you, essentially, somebody who has a total different framework about life, and they also know your goals and your motivation and what you really want to accomplish, and so they're able to leverage the difference that they have to
Yes.
different perspective on where you are and how you might get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then at the base, you also have that foundation that you've cultivated together, our group values, our ground rules, our group beliefs, all of those kind of things are the foundation that we agreed on, was the kind of frame that we were operating within, so that we're talking a common language, but coming from different backgrounds to help one another productively move forward. And it's been extraordinary.
That is so right. And so yes, it's a heartwarming um, experience every single
Yes.
time, and
Oh,
every
yes.
every single week we grow. We can answers, we find solutions,
Yeah.
and some of the accomplishments that we've experienced as a result of this, are not even necessarily visibly tangible, but just really acknowledging the fact that we have a fear, we have a concern, we are missing out on a certain skill set that we actually need. And the idea is, in discussing that, is it worth it to develop the skill, or is it worth it better to have
Outsource it.
outsource out?
Those have been conversations, right? Yes.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and what is the value for your time? Should you be taking the time to put energy into learning the skill, or putting the time having somebody else work on that particular item, and you continue moving forward with something that someone else can't really do for you?
Yes. Right.
Right. And so,
Right.
but the discussion is what helps you to challenge yourself and challenge the other person,
Yeah.
to bring out the nuances
Yes.
of the circumstance, to be able to make a distinction, a difference. And
Right.
so it's just really fun to be able to
Yeah.
share with everybody here. The masterminding is a huge part of the success that we've had. Is masterminding is the reason
Yeah.
here. We have a story to tell about masterminding, because we have all these wonderful experiences.
Yes.
But I just want to interject here that out of all of the books that we've studied together, Stephen Covey's work has been a real fundamental piece. And I
Spend a
would,
year,
yeah, we
a
spent,
year studying Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
yes,
And
and
now it's part of us.
it's a part. I mean, we just reflexively, we can bring it up, and we understand why our decision is being made, because it's based on the principles. It's based on
Principles.
the principles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that I like about that is that we take a book like that, and we actually have a position in an infograph for that book.
Yeah. Yes,
And then
yes.
we have other books in the infograph based on the information and the way that we interpret the information, the way that the information's helped us. And one of the things that I really like about this in the Stephen Covey work is the win-win or no deal.
Yes.
Spend so much time reflecting on that and
Yes.
being able to
And
truly,
what it actually means and
and
how
we
to go about creating one. And we've always taken that information even further than
yes.
what we found in the original material as we interpreted it and interpreted in light of our goals and objectives
That's
for
correct.
ourselves.
That's correct. So one
Yeah.
win-win or no deal. And that, and maybe we should explain what that really means, right? It means that if both parties, of all parties, cannot win, then it is better for us not to have a deal if somebody is going to end up losing.
Yes. Walk away from it
Walk
or
away.
wait until you can figure it out.
That's correct.
And it's so hard. It's not a concept that most people are familiar with. It's compromise is the thing that everybody usually goes
Yeah.
for. And when you can elevate your thinking to something new, and that's what came out. These are some of the things that came out of our having a mastermind group and grappling with these things as we were struggling with issues that we were facing to actually move in the direction. You had to learn new things. You had to learn new ways of being, new information, new concepts. And as you did that, it elevated everything about your whole life. I am always going for a win-win or no deal kind of thing now in life. If
Mhm.
you want vanilla ice cream and I want chocolate ice cream, and it's like, can't we make a really awesome sundae and go get hot fudge and marshmallow fluff sauce? Well, not for you because you're not a diabetic anymore. But I always use the ice cream example. Most people do a compromise and they go get strawberry,
Yeah.
and everybody's dissatisfied. Well,
Hallelujah.
how do you create something that is even better than either of you imagined in the first place, that everybody is excited about, not just like, okay, fine, let's do that.
Mm,
No, something that everybody's really excited about and can get behind, that elevates everything. If you can, so these concepts, as you learn them and you work with them together with someone else, as you're trying to solve problems, moving towards your objectives, you grow as a person. It
mm,
grows all of your life as a result of this. And so, yeah, it's just been amazing. I do want to ask a question, Michael, in all of this,
sure.
because I imagine people are going, yeah, that's great for you too.
Yeah.
How do I get one? How do I create that? And
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for this. So this would be something that you and I would do on a mastermind call, is exactly what I just did now. Well,
Yes.
that's great. I would love to have a mastermind group. I would love somebody to be supportive, and nobody cares anything about the thing that I'm so passionate about. How do I get one? So what would you well, how would we solve this? As an example, I'm kind of curious how we would solve this. You
That's
and I lucked out. You and
well,
I, and so we would pull on threads like this. How
yeah.
Michael and I'm going to tell Michael and I story really quickly. It was by accident. I had just come from an Anthony Robbins event, and I had promised myself, I have massive social anxiety. I'll say this 100,000 times. And I'd come from an Anthony Robbins event, and I promised myself that it would be more open to people. So I go, the next week I'm back and I'm in Indiana, and I'm supposed to go to a course that he was instructing on for Microsoft Project, of all things.
Mhm.
And he saw me up in the front, I guess, nodding and being very receptive to the material that was being presented. He
Mhm.
asked me to come to dinner. My normal response would have been, I really have a lot of work to do. I've got to go back to my room. Thank you very much. And it was like, girl, you just promised yourself that you would be more open to people. And so I gulped and I said, yes. And that's when he said to me, I've been thinking about putting a mastermind group together. Are you interested?
Mhm.
So there's something illustrative in that. So I don't know the answer to the question I posited here, how I would go find someone. But the curious thing about this is that I was open to the idea of it. I knew that's what I was looking for, different people in my life. I was looking to be open to more positive and forward thinking people in my life. So when the opportunity showed itself,
Yes.
I saw it, I recognized it. So I would guess that the first step of answering my question, how would
Mhm.
I get a mastermind group if I wanted, or somebody else who's supportive of my dreams, it would be, first of all, have an awareness that that's what you're looking for. Keep
Woohoo!
your radar up
Yeah.
for the person who's interested in the thing you are, interested in developing and growing, and trying people on for size and asking a good question. Hey, are you interested in sitting down for coffee and discussing these
Mm-hmm,
kind of things? I
mm-hmm.
am really trying to get this thing accomplished. I want to do this thing and I just feel all alone in it. What are you up to? People
Yes.
who are doing similar things or of like mind, and keep your radar up for that person. At
That's
least that one person.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was thinking while you were speaking about this and describing it, I was thinking the first thing is take a risk.
Yeah. So same thing, right? In a
Yeah,
similar
yeah.
vein,
Take,
put
take,
yourself out there.
take a risk, but an informed risk,
Hmm.
right? Meaning to say you should be clear on what you want to accomplish. You should be
Yes.
clear on the environment that you want to have. You should be clear about the principles and the values that you have that you will not entertain in your group. You should be
Yes.
clear about that. And,
Yes.
and then it becomes a whole lot easier because then you can discuss those things up front before you actually even have your first meeting, your first
Right.
real meeting.
Right. You know what you're looking for. Sort of
Yeah.
like dating for a mastermind partner. You might have to go through a few toads. But to know what you're looking for in someone else and what you're looking for yourself
Yeah.
and what you're maybe looking to provide for someone else,
Yes.
right? It
Yes.
can't be just one-sided.
Yes.
And so that's where I would start on this, because you and I lucked out. Our radar was up, looking for someone else
Mhm.
to discuss these topics, and we both acknowledge for oh my gosh, for years now, how blessed we are to have this, because we don't have this in anywhere else in our life.
No,
Uh,
very difficult.
yes, it is a challenge. I don't want to minimize that it's a challenge to find someone who wants to talk about the same things you want to talk about, explore life in the same way that you do. But when you do, it's a just an absolute blessing, a godsend. uh you and
Yeah.
I have both grown and developed in ways we couldn't have even imagined, 5 years ago,
Hmm.
or much less 16 years ago when we started. I laugh because I'm going to tell everybody what was our mastermind group name, the Billionaires
The
Club. It
billionaires
was
club. Yeah.
focused on money. And then it's like, as you start exploring your values, Michael and I could have cared less about that aspect of it, and that got dropped within about 15 minutes. It was like, how did we get there? It didn't even express our values. And so you want to find someone also that you can explore things with, that you can feel these things out with, and as you're moving forward.
Yeah, and we thought, because I was doing some real estate investing at the time and
Yes.
buying and selling properties, and you also were in real estate at the time.
Yes.
And we had another gentleman, Bill, that joined us
Yes.
interested in that. And so we thought that was going to be the thing.
The direction.
Yeah, that was going to be where we were going. We're going to buy, get big and do it all over the country. And
And that's not where we went at all, is it?
the interesting part about that is that we realize now that whenever people are getting together just for the money, something falls through.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
the framing it, even if you're not genuine, you want to have something else that's of value to the other parties. That's a genuine, real value to the other party, not just the money,
Yes.
because values far outweigh those kinds of goals. And
Yes.
if your values are about other people and the benefits that you can provide for others, the true fundamental or extraordinary benefits, whatever they are, whatever category they fall in, you've got to be clear that there's more power in doing
Yes.
something for someone else than for your own self gratification.
And of course, that's in our values. That's in our document, is that.
It's in our document, and it
And
feeds.
that, because then we know they have the staying power, that the money really doesn't have the staying power to keep you motivated. It's leaning your ladder up against the wrong wall, so to speak.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
out of that, I think maybe we can summarize through one more belief here what we've just explained. So this is our belief. This is another one of the beliefs, and we believe that when we, as a group, allow our skills, interests, experiences, and creativity to work synergistically. Meaningful support and accelerated progress for each member will be the natural result.
Yep. And
Wow.
how many times have we seen that?
Like every time, every
Yes.
single time. Yeah, every single time. And synergizing is a principle that exists within the fabric of the group dynamic. So synergizing, and that's one of the principles coming out of Stephen Covey, right? Where, it's not just the win-win or no deal, but synergize. So you actually, re-energize yourself and get
and each other.
in each other. Yeah. And so everybody is a contributor to the group's progress, and everybody receives the benefit as well.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's just really something. So I'm encouraging. I think you hit the question on the head, Renee. So how do I get started? Somebody may be asking that very question out there. And if you have any additional questions that you want to ask us about that, and maybe if you would like a couple of items from the framework to be able to see some of what we have, we're happy to share some of those with you. We don't want to give you the whole document because it'd be way too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to just
it's a lot.
even consult with us with some specific questions about the things that you're interested in doing, and then we can provide for you some guidance with regards to your mastermind and the questions that you may want to use. And maybe that's something we should come up with, maybe a list of questions that would be good for someone to pose to someone else in scouting and in recruiting for a place in the mastermind group. But yes, so the idea being this: don't do this big thing that you want. Don't plan to get your dream accomplished all by yourself. Now, sometimes it works, but
I can tell you it doesn't, Michael. I spent years in floundering, and it makes such a big difference. It's such an error, and it was such a hard thing for me to do. So I can speak from my own personal experience. It's like it's just so hard to do. And then once you have that other person, it makes all the difference. You're not going it alone. You're not trying to go after those dreams because you've got a lot of naysayers in your life. You've got a lot of, negative Nellies in your life. Yep. You need someone who's always in your corner, always cheering you on. And, Michael and I say this every week in and week out, your biggest gift to the world is you being you, sharing the gift of you and what turns you on, what thrills you, what your interests are with the world. And so we're always here to listen to what those things are, to support and encourage, because we love being around like-minded people who want to go out there and share their gifts with the world. And so, yeah, any way we can help, always.
Yeah, just send a message right here on the Facebook page, People Living by Purpose instead. And also Renee Maxfield, right here in Facebook, Renee Troutman Maxfield. And also Renee has a YouTube channel where these videos are also being uploaded. And really want you to know that any way that we can help, if you want to revisit any questions, send us a message. Because
we'd be happy to.
We're truly here to help you build your framework, build the dream that you have in mind for yourself and for your family. And if we can help in any way, just reach out to us. So I think what I'd like to propose for our next session, next podcast, is to take a look at the values.
Okay, absolutely.
Because
to give people an idea of what those values are that we're living by, that we're working by, is our working premises for this group. Yes, absolutely. I love that idea.
And I think it would be good, instructive, as I'm looking at that information right now. A lot of it is coming out of the Stephen Covey work. Yeah, a lot of it's coming right out of the Stephen Covey work. And I do think that would be a great book for any mastermind group who is, even if you've read the book before, but to study that as a group.
Yes.
Because that, in other words, the highly effective habits, highly effective people, these are the 7 habits of highly effective people. It didn't say
Right.
wealthy people. It didn't say rich people. It says effective people.
Yeah.
Really about how big you're going to get with what you do. I mean, if you want that, that's okay. But are you going to be effective on a daily basis?
Chasing your dreams, your big life. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so we look forward to getting together with you, with our audience. Renee, I trust that you will have a great time wherever you are.
Yes, I will. I'm living my dream. And it came out of this group, right? It came out of this mastermind call and all the topics we've explored. I'm living it right now. And so I've got hardships like everybody else, but right now I'm living my dream because of this group. And so we hope to see you next week. Please tune in. Any way we can help you, please get with us. We'd love to help you out. And have a good week.
Thank you.